Okay, hi you guys. As you know, I'm working with Miss Dittman this week, so I have a fun video for you guys, and we're going to go through our amazing word routine. So to start out, we are working on reading the Dancing Sky Lights. It is about colors you can see in the sky that are caused by the northern lights. And really cool thing is that actually on Friday at 4 in the morning, you could see the northern lights from where we live, which is super, super cool. I don't think anybody that I know of was up at 4 a.m., but it's really cool to try and track things like that, especially in the area we live in. It doesn't happen often, and it is very, very pretty. So we're going to read a story about it this week. And while I read the story to you, I want you to listen for amazing words. Reflect, microscope, dusk, and twilight as I read the story to you. So there's 4 different words, and our passages are a little bit longer. So I would like you to hold up a finger every time I read one of the amazing words, which again are reflect, microscope, dusk, and twilight. Just for a little bit of background knowledge, reflect kind of means when something is bending or to throw back waves of light, sound, or heat. So it could be all of those 3 things. We know that our reflections, we're reflecting back. But think about when we're outside and there's light coming in, and when you have something shiny and it reflects over there. Has that ever happened to you when someone's wiggling something and the sun is hitting it and then it hits you in the eye and it's really, really bright? That's kind of what it's talking about. Microscope or microscopic is something that is super, super small and very fine. We just did a discovery lesson about sand, and there's some really microscopic pieces of sand. We know that sand has started as big rocks and slowly over time gotten smaller and smaller and smaller until it eventually becomes microscopic. And you can only see microscopic things with a microscope. It is a great tool to help you see very, very small things that we can't, as humans, see with our own eyes. We need a tool to help us see it. Microscopic, very, very, very small. Dusk, which is another word we will hear in our story, is the period of time between sunset and nightfall. So it's at night. Dusk is at night. And when you think about dusk, think of when you see the sun setting over far away, and then all of a sudden it disappears. It usually happens really, really fast. The sun is like right here, and then it goes smaller and smaller and smaller. And the second you can't see it anymore, that is dusk, until it gets all the way really, really dark outside. That's dusk, that period that is coming a little bit earlier in our winter months. We get dusk a lot earlier now than we do in the summer. During this time of year, during winter months, dusk usually happens around 5 p.m., which is kind of crazy. Even a little bit earlier, honestly, like 4:30 to 5 is our dusk, the beginning of our dusk time. But in the summer, that's usually around 9 o'clock. So kind of fun to think about. Twilight is another word that we will come across. Twilight. It is the period of time before sunrise and after sunset. So twilight can be in the morning and at night, right before the sun rises or right before the sun sets. So our atmosphere, or the world that we see and that we live in, is kind of partially illuminated, so lit up, by the sun. So it is not completely dark or not completely light. So think when you're driving to school in the morning and the sun isn't up yet, that's twilight. When you're coming home at the end of the day and the sun is starting to set, that's twilight. So at the really early morning, really early night, really late night, and in between there. And then being active. Active is not a word in our story, but it is one that we're going to talk about later. Being active is just involving movement. So we're active all day in our math classroom. We're getting up, we're going to specials, we are transitioning around the room, especially during literacy time. We're very active, so involving movement. I am going to start reading our story, and it is called The Dancing Sky Lights, and we're talking about the northern lights. I hope you guys enjoy. What would you think if you looked up at the sky one night and saw colored lights swirling above you? You might think they were beautiful, but you might be scared too. Not many people in Texas ever see a sky that seems alive with light, but people in other parts of the world see a colorful sky called northern lights. In countries in the far north, lights of all colors seem to dance around the sky. The northern lights are beautiful, and they are nothing to be afraid of. But a long time ago, people were afraid. It was scary to see the sky turn colors and not know why. So they made up stories to explain what they saw. The stories told why the lights appeared and why they moved in the strange ways that they did. So I'm going to stop here and think about what I've read so far. So far, we're getting some background knowledge on the northern lights. Maybe not why the sky is colored like it is or why they dance up there like they do, but we're kind of learning about how people like us a long time ago reacted to the ways that the sky was changing. Because a normal sky, we will see cloudy, maybe blue, and a little bit rainy, depending on the season and depending on the weather on the day. We kind of know what to expect when we look up at the sky. We're going to see blue. We are going to see clouds. Maybe we're going to see some rain, but that's kind of it. Those are our normals. So a long time ago, these people had no idea why there was colors in the sky and why they were twinkling and dancing, they say. So moving around, I'm going to keep reading. Some stories told of animals dancing. Others talked of a colorful dragon. And still others, it was a fox. In the fox story, it was said that as the fox ran through the snowy fields, its tail hit the ice. This caused sparks of fire to shoot into the sky. So these people are not only talking about what's happening in the sky, but what's happening here on Earth, on the ground, and how that affects what's going on in the sky. That is one theory. Is it true? We don't know. Let's keep reading. Sometimes the northern lights look like a red river of fire. When that happened years ago, people thought that a real fire caused the northern lights. When the lights were green, orange, purple, or blue, people imagined sky fighters battling with shining weapons that would reflect all the colors of the sunlight into the clouds. So now here's another theory. People are fighting down here with shiny swords. And when something's shiny and the sun is out, it's going to reflect. And they said that reflection is going to shoot up in the sky, which causes those colors and the dancing. So that's interesting. Let's keep reading and see if we're going to find out more theories or maybe find out real reasons why, and maybe scientists explain it. Here we go. Today, scientists can explain what the northern lights are in a different way. So before we heard stories, now we're going to hear real facts and truth about what people observed. When they studied the sun, they learned that sometimes there are sun storms. During these storms, microscopic pieces of dust blow through space in all directions. When the pieces of dust reach Earth, they hit gases in the air, making the gases glow in different colors. Why does this happen? The air around Earth's poles is like a giant magnet. Have you seen how a magnet pulls on a paperclip? Well, Earth's magnet pulls on the dust pieces. The colors of light you see depend on which gases are hit by the dust when it enters the air. When the dust hits nitrogen and helium, so gases, the sky turns purple or blue. When it hits oxygen, the sky turns yellow or green. When the oxygen hits high above us, the entire sky turns red. So friends, there's not just one color that the sky can turn. There are multiple different colors that we can see. And there's a different reason for almost all of them, which is super cool. The best time to watch the northern lights is from dusk, when it just begins to get dark, until dawn, when it begins to get light out again. The best place to see them is in the northern countries, such as Sweden and Canada. And lucky for us, we live pretty close to Canada. People in these countries go out on clear, moonless nights and gaze into the twilight. Here's another amazing word. The lights swirl and sway as they dance across the sky. They are just as fascinating as they've always been. Just maybe not as scary. And that's the end of our story. So now we know why the Northern Lights are what they are and do what they do. We now know that we don't have to be scared of these things because scientists have done the observations and the tests and all of those things to help us understand why the sky turns different colors. Now that we've read our story, we're going to move on to the amazing word work portion of our day. On the back counter, there will be this worksheet for you to complete under lemons and limes. I want your name at the top and the date with your number. I'll read the directions to you. It says, listed below are some of our amazing words for the week. Read through the words and what they mean. So on this side, under amazing words, is a list of the amazing words that we saw in our text. And then over here is the definition, or what the word means. So I have the word and the definition. I would like you to read through all 5 of these, and then when you're done, turn over to the back. On the back, it says fill in the blank using the amazing words for the week. So I have sentences, and I would like you to fill in the blank using these words. Every word will only be used once, so choose carefully. Think about the story when you're trying to figure these out. Then the last thing I would like you to complete is writing me a story using at least one of the amazing words above. Circle it. And there's more directions here. This is where you will write the story. If you need more room, there will be extra paper. But you guys do a really, really, really good job of writing me these stories. They're very creative. They're usually involve more than one amazing word, which is awesome. That's what I'm looking for. But I'm really excited to see your creativity and what you do with it. And since this video is almost done, if you have enough time after completing the front and the back of this worksheet, I will have a blank sheet of paper for you to write or draw a picture of the story you wrote me on that paper. So if you finish early, I would like you to grab that piece of paper and just with your pencil, write me a picture of that story you wrote about. These are always really good. Okay? I need you now, once this video is over, to quietly close your Chromebook, add a 0, level 0, grab a pencil and a worksheet and maybe a clipboard, and sit back at your spot and on your own, fill out the sheet. When you are done, remember you can go grab this white piece of paper and draw me a picture. Okay, add a 0. Thanks for listening.